What's up, tribe? How you guys going? This is going to be your review for P-Valley Season 1, Episode 2. Listen, if y'all ain't got on this show, you better get on this show. So, a couple of things got cleared up. A few more things got a little bit murky. Let's go and talk about it. We start this episode off. We find out what goes down in the Paradise Room. The Paradise Room was the room with all the clouds and stuff last week. We talked about last week. And there seems to be a regular down up in the Paradise Room. We're going to learn a little bit more about him later on. And they are doing the whole dominatrix thing. They got him, you know, Mercedes and Mississippi are dominating him. And they doing the whole master-slave thing. Because at first you think he's white. But then you find out that he's not white. He mixed. And like I said, we're going to get a little bit more, we're going to learn a little bit more about him a little later on. Now, some other things that's going on down here to the pink. Uncle Clifford is chasing after Miss Autumn, a.k.a. Haley, because she has not shown him any ID. And he was like, listen, we might have a whole lot of things that go on down here to the pink, but one is not tax evasion. So I'm going to need you to get your ID. I'm going to need you to do your paperwork. If not, that's it. You can't keep, dancing in here. And she told him, she was like, listen, I'd rather work under the table. Let me do some cash. She said, no, man, Pam, contrary to popular belief, that is not how it goes down here. Now, mind you, Autumn is keep peeping everything. We learned some things about Miss Autumn, okay? Now, Autumn is peeping all of this. And she saw some things going down in the Paradise Room, and she sees some money to be made, okay, back behind the Paradise Room doors. We still don't know all of Autumn's story, but we get, like I said, we get a few more details. Which I figured this show is going to be one of those shows where you get the breadcrumbs. You get little breadcrumbs. So then we see that Uncle Clifford, listen, Uncle Clifford got the strip club going. He's selling the wings. And the check cashing business out back. Then he got the Oxy. Remember I told you they did a drug exchange on the trash can. I mean on the garbage truck. And he got the check cashing thing going on. So he is trying to make money come in every which way but up. But what we find out is that he owes on this loan, and they calling that loan in, and they want the $55,000, or he's gonna lose the club. His sidekick was like, listen, Uncle Clifford, I need to know what's really good and what's going on, because at the end of the day, like, I got 2 felonies. It ain't too many places I can go and get a job. So I need to know what's up. You need to tell me what the dealio is. And Uncle Clifford was like, listen, it's going to be okay. We're going to make it work. We've been through hard times before. He was like, yeah, but it ain't never been like this before. Uncle Clifford leaves out, goes to get in his car. And who was in the backseat of the car but Lil Monster from last week, the rapper. And we find out that some stuff, this week things got a little murky for me. And I feel like some stuff went down in the Paradise Room between them, but it didn't go down the way it could have gone down. Like, the whole thing didn't go down. And either way, he was like, listen, I gave you some money so Mercedes would dance to my song. And he was like, listen, I can't help the fact that she didn't want to twerk to that stuff. He was like, it really wasn't no good song. And I can't be mad at her. I did what I could. I put it up there. She wouldn't dance to it. And he was like, well, I thought you had control over your women. He was like, nah, they independent contractors. Like, I can't make them do nothing. And so, again, it's something with them, but he ends up giving, they end up talking a little bit more about what's good music, what's not good music, and all of that. And, like I said, it's more to that. It's some more to that. I ain't catch everything. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't catch everything, but it's some more to it. I don't think I was supposed to catch everything, because Uncle Clifford kept having these flashbacks of them back in the Paradise Room and other things, and innuendos were thrown, and some more stuff was child. So then we see Miss Mercedes. Now, Miss Mercedes is running with her dog, Black and Mild. Her dog name is Black and Mild. And looked like she got a little neighbor that she's a little flirty with. He said he gonna come down and see her last dance. Well, come to find out, he got a little ankle bracelet, and she was like, listen, don't get in no trouble counting me. Like, you can't go nowhere. He said he got it all worked out, and you could tell that she liked him and he liked her, so I'm sure there's a little story there somewhere. Her mama is calling her, and she is avoiding her mother's phone call. And basically, her mother is calling her for a donation. her mother is like, listen, you said you was going to bring your tithes down here to the church. We need that money. And what happened was the church is trying to get this loan. And that's why she let her money sit in the church's account so that it would make their accounts look better so they could apply for this loan. Now, on the flip side, it helped Mercedes as well because I'm sure that she ain't claiming all them tips on her taxes. And come to find out that she had $20,000 sitting in the church's bank account. That $20,000 is her seed money to go ahead and get started. And just like I said, I sort of guessed last week, she is buying a building for her girls so that she can start her own dance studio. So that's what her exit plan is. Her retirement plan is from the strip club is that she gonna start her own dance studio. Now, Mama and the Pastor. I wasn't sure last week. I wasn't sure if Mama was just a member, if Mama was the first lady. I wasn't sure. But Mother is not the first lady. She's trying to be the first lady. And the pastor is using her and she using her daughter. That's really what it boils down to. The pastor know he like her. But he ain't paying her no attention. And that's really what that is and what's going on. Now, one of Uncle Clifford's hustles is that he's going to raise money during this car wash. His sidekick told him it ain't enough cars in the city that we live in. I think it's called Satega, something like that. But he said it ain't enough cars down here for $50,000. But they out there anyway, they doing the cars. And the mayor rolls up. Now the mayor looked like a thug. Looks like a retired little thug. Him and Uncle Clifford clearly have a history. They don't get along. Uncle Clifford ain't feeling him because he's trying to make Uncle Clifford, remember the whole thing last week with the liquor, and he didn't really want them, doing the whole liquor thing or whatever. And he told Uncle Clifford, he was like, listen, if you stop, you can have your bar hassle free if you stop having topless dances. And he was like, well, what kind of titty bar can I run with no titties? Like, what are you talking about? And he was like, yeah, well, you can't have it both ways. So there's something going on. It's obvious that they're trying to push Uncle Clifford out of business because the man don't look like the type of dude that care what's going on down to the pink, as long as he get a cut. Like, I could see if he was trying to get a cut off of what was going on down to the pink, but it really does seem like they're trying to squeeze him out of business. Miss Autumn, a.k.a. Haley. Haley got a little drinking problem, y'all. Now, we know she's dealing with some PTSD. We saw that last week. We're going to see it again this week, that she's having these flashbacks and stuff. And I don't know if her drinking is a result of her trauma or if she's always been a drinker. But she's got all these IDs, and we see her making a phone call. We see her making a phone call trying to see which IDs are any good. And again, I do think this is Katrina, post Katrina, because she's got all these IDs and she's calling to see what bodies have been found or claimed yet. And she, checks the ID of Matavius Hill. And I'm thinking that that's the guy that she keeps having these flashbacks with, that she got into it with. I'm thinking she must have killed him because she's wondering if they found his body yet. The other thing we know, and which I forgot to mention in last week's review, she kept looking at her phone with a picture of a little girl on it. And she ended up spilling liquor on the phone. And so we see her doing the rice and the bag trick. The phone does end up coming back on, and we do see the pictures of the little girl. So I guess I'm assuming that that's her daughter or what have you. Something happened. I forgot just that quick. Anyway, so then we see the guy from last week that was taking the pictures. And we're starting to put these pieces together. He's working for a casino. The land where Uncle Clifford is that strip area, that's where they want the casino. So they absolutely are trying to push him out of business so they had that land for their casino. And we see Andre, the photographer, we see him buying up some land from a couple of brothers. And buying up the land for the casino. And it's an old cotton plantation, child. And it was cotton out there while he was out there taking pictures. And one of the brothers was going to say, go ahead and pick it. He was like, excuse me? He was like, a lot of people come over here and they want to take a souvenir. So, you can go ahead, rather than taking the pictures, you can go ahead and pick it. He was like, yeah, no, I'm good. No to white people, don't ever tell black people that they can pick some cotton. I don't give a damn what your intentions are. Just don't. Don't do that. Nope. But come to find out, it's actually 3 brothers and not 2. And so they were like, well, so they're ready to sell their property. Like, they just signed on a dotted line. They're offering them like $4 million for their land. And he was like, well, our 3rd brother, and what we find out is that the 3rd brother they don't really have the same mama and daddy. They got the same daddy. And he is the prodigal son type situation. And I was thinking, I bet you it's the dude from the beginning of the episode that was in the Paradise Room with Mercedes in Mississippi, and it was him. And he was like, well, let me talk to him. Let me try to convince him to sign. And they were like, well, he's not interested in selling, but he is interested in leasing. And he was like, well, nah, we're not going to be doing no leasing. We buying land outright. And they were like, well, then, he said he's not going to sign. But basically they were like, since he ain't the real son, do we really need his signature? And he was like, listen, all 3 names are on the deed. All 3 names, I need their signature. He was like, well, where can I find them? And they pointed to a sign for the pink, like, tonight, you can find them over there. So we end up seeing him, Andre talking to the brother, and they in the VIP or whatever. And the brother is not stupid. The brother was like, listen, they ain't had shit for me until my mama died. Until their father died. And they had to acknowledge me. I'm not stupid. He's like, I'm down here spending money. I'm down here getting everything that I should have got all along that was denied to me. And as far as that land is concerned, if the casino want that land, they'll lease it from me. But I'm not interested in selling it. He said, after taxes, I ain't going to bring but about $1 million. But I know that casino going to make a whole lot of money. So you go talk to your people and you tell your people that if they want to do a land lease, then I'm all ears. But if they just want to, if they want to buy it outright, I'm not interested. And Andre was like, listen, I ain't authorized to be doing all that negotiating. I'm just telling you what the plan is. And he said, well, listen, he basically offered him a kickback to try to make it happen. Andre was like, listen, I ain't that kind of dude. Now, mind you, while that's going on, we have Mercedes and Autumn over at the bar talking about, because the guy's in the Armani suit. And, remember the bartender was supposed to be telling her, oh, that's the part I forgot. I knew it was the part I forgot. Let me rewind for a second. Let me go back to the car wash. So while they were at the car wash, Mercedes and Autumn ended up supposed to be detailing the mayor's car, because after the mayor threatened Uncle Clifford told them, you make this car shine, you make this car so clean, I'd want to sleep with it. Like, this dude that threatened to shut down my business, I ain't got time to be playing games with him. I don't like him, but I respect the fact that he got the authority. So they were inside the car, and Mercedes left to go get some more like armor oil type of thing. And Autumn was inside the car, and the water started running down. Like they were rinsing off the car. And so she started seeing the water run down. And she was getting claustrophobic, and she saw the water, and she couldn't get out. She was in the back seat. The child locks were on. And she ended up jumping out. Like, she ended up climbing out the top of the car, off the sunroof of the car. And she was screaming and hollering, and she was coming after Mercedes because she felt like Mercedes did it on purpose, trying to be funny, locked her in. And they were like, Mercedes didn't lock you in, child. Like, it was the child who locked you in the back seat. And she was just like, So Uncle Clifford got Mercedes to give her a ride home, and Mercedes was actually trying to be nice and make sure she was okay. But of course, old girl was, like I said, it was that PTSD. She wasn't trying to hear none of that. She didn't want to have nothing to do with none of that. She was like, nope. Don't talk to me. Don't say nothing to me. I don't care. I don't want to hear nothing about it. All right. So that happened. The PTSD moment happened. I knew I had forgot something. All right. So let's get back to the club. Now, Mercedes and Autumn once again are bumping heads over this VIP situation. And Mercedes and I just saying, listen, they in there trying to make a business deal. They ain't in there trying to spend no money. Like, don't even fool with Mr. Armani suit, because Mr. Armani suit ain't dropping no coins. But Autumn went in there anyway to go try to, dance, went in there to go to get a dance. And she called him Andre, and he was like, the brother was like, oh, so y'all know each other? And she was like, we've met each other's acquaintance outside of here. Because he was like, I thought you said you want to do the strip clubs. He was like, I don't, So she got the dancing and everything. No, Mercedes came in and was really trying to take the customer. Once she saw that the guy was actually having a conversation with Autumn, she came in to take the customer. And dude let it be known that he really wasn't interested in Mercedes, but he was interested in Autumn. So of course Mercedes got her little feelings, and of course it had to be that he was color struck, child. So Autumn is in there dancing, and she's listening to this whole conversation about the casino, the land lease, getting the kickback, not taking the kickback. And so when Andre wouldn't take the kickback, he ended up telling Autumn, will take him on into the pleasure room and gave him a stack, gave him $1,000, and was like, since you won't take the kickback, give it to her and go have yourself a good time. And of course, Andre likes Autumn, so he went back in the Paradise Room to go talk to her. But she was dancing and stuff, and then he finally was like, listen, let's just talk. Now, let's rewind a little bit. I keep forgetting stuff, y'all. Let me rewind a little bit. Lil Monster, a.k.a. the rapper, he came through there. Once again, Uncle Clifford was like, are you stalking me? Well, what happened was Uncle Clifford's cook quit on him right before the club was supposed to open because Uncle Clifford ain't paid him. And Lil Monster was like, well, you know, the wings do need a little bit of help. I mean, they really ain't that great. And Uncle Clifford was like, oh, really? Like, any more suggestions? He was like, well, everybody can tell you kind of struggling. I mean, you ain't got no hookah. You don't have no money guns. Like, you know, you really kind of could use some upgrades down here. And he was like, oh, really? And he was like, well, what you know about this chicken? He was like, I mean, you need to pan-sear that chicken and mix it with a little bit of marijuana butter, and you might be all right. He was like, well, show me how to do it. So dude cooked the wings. He made the wings. So everybody was under the influence of these wings with the marijuana butter because they didn't tell nobody that they had marinated the wings in the marijuana butter. Okay. And Andre knew he was high. He just didn't. He was like, he kept saying they must have put something in them wings. They must have put something in them wings. Yeah, they did. And all of y'all was in there high. But they were in the back in the little Paradise Room. And she let him know that she heard the whole conversation about the casino and about him not taking the kickback. And he was like, oh, you heard that, huh? She was like, yeah. And then he saw her C-section scar and he asked her, did it hurt? She was like, nah, it ain't hurt. And of course, she didn't want to talk about the fact that she had a baby or whatever. Then so then she was like, he said, well, mine didn't hurt either. He opened up his shirt and he had a scar down the middle of his chest. And he said he had a birth defect. He was born with his heart outside of his body. And she was like, that's bullshit. He was like, no, really. He was like, I'm telling you, something was in those wings. I got me telling stuff that I wouldn't normally tell nobody. So she told him, she was like, listen, if you decide to take that kickback, protect yourself. He was like, what you mean protect yourself? And baby, she started spouting all kinds of tax shelters and where he need to divest and how he can create a shell company. I said, this bitch is straight out of Wharton Business School. What in the hell? So again, we know like Autumn is there's definitely some more layers there. And like I said, I go back to last week when I was like, I don't know if that was her suitcase or not with the Yves Saint Laurent and the Louboutins and all of that. Like maybe she did come from some money. Because then we also saw her transferring some funds and it looked like she transferred $9,000. So once again, I'm like, okay, she wants to live off the grid. She has money. But she's living off the grid and she's living off the radar because she done killed that man and she worried about the police coming to look for her. That's the only thing I can think. Now, where her baby is and the rest of her family, I don't know. But she got some money. Like, she's not no dumb chick, you know. Now, she's taking this whole stripping thing like a duck to water, though. But we'll get there. That's another conversation. So, she comes up out the champagne room, and when it's time to pay out, she's flaunting her money in front of everybody because, you know, she got that $1,000, and then she had that VIP room situation with the brother. And, of course, Mercedes got mad, and they accused her of actually having sex with the dude, and she was like, listen, I didn't have sex. Like, you know, he just wanted a conversation. Of course, nobody believed that. And Mercedes was really about to whoop her ass. Like, Mercedes was about to whoop her ass. And Uncle Clifford put everybody out the room. And then he told her, he had her back there. He was like, listen, you owe me something. Talking about the ID. And he told her, he said, listen, the next time, just cheat me. But don't do that in front of the girls like that. Don't be flaunting your money in front of them like that. Like, don't do that. And I said that anytime he telling you to cheat him rather than flaunt it in front of those girls, I was like, well, you know. So she tries to she gives him the ID because she had checked those names and the ID of the person whose body hadn't been found yet, you know, or she used that ID. Uncle Clifford sat there and tricked her with the oldest trick because he never believed that was her. It was like Lakeisha Williams. He was like, you don't look like no damn Lakeisha. And he didn't believe her. It was like the oldest trick in the book. He was like, oh, well, it looks like your birthday is next month. What kind of cake you like? She was like, chocolate. He said, Scorpio, you said you was a Scorpio. Your birthday ain't next month. This ain't your ID. Ain't nobody got time for these games. Ain't nobody got time. Ain't nobody got time to play these games. And he said, I don't know what it is. I don't know why you trying to live off the grid. And so she said something that let him know about the casino. And he was like, what you mean the casino? What casino? She was like, oh, you ain't know about the casino coming? He was like, I mean, I knew. I just, you know, I ain't know. I ain't have all that information. I mean, I knew. I know, like, now. And so she realized he didn't know what was going on. And he told her, he was like, listen. He said, well, tell me more. Just tell me what you know. And she gave him dude's business card because he had given her his business card. She said, listen, call him. He can tell you whatever it is you want to know. Uncle Clifford said, he seems to like talking to you since he won't pay you $1,000 just to have a conversation. He said, you call and you get all the information that I need. And she was like, why would I do that? He was like, because I got your fake ass ID here. And if you don't want me to go calling the sheriff about who you really are, then you're going to get all the information that I need. And so, you know, he puts her in charge of going and getting the information. So she gets back to her spot that night and she calls she calls Andre. And when he picks up the phone, he on the other line with his wife, girlfriend, whoever. He slammed on the other line with some woman. And he gets off the phone with her to talk to Autumn. And that scene, I can't even describe that scene and do it justice. Let's just say there was some mutual masturbation. There was definitely some pain that was shown. Yeah. It was a very intense moment. And then that's where it ended. So y'all, two things I need to get clarity on, and y'all can help me out in them comments. That transfer, she transferred $9,000 to the name, that fake name she was trying to use. So again, she got some money somewhere. And then the whole situation with Uncle Clifford and this rapper. He ended up giving Uncle Clifford after Uncle Clifford told him his music really wasn't that good. He made another song and he dropped it in Uncle Clifford's car. So they got something going on. Something's going on with them. Anyway, y'all, let me know how y'all feel about it. Because listen, P-Valley is everything to me right now. That is definitely must-see TV. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Drop it in those comments. Peace.